headlight switch is straightforward. It has an off, automatic parking, and headlight there. Now the fog light is controlled here, and it sticks out the back, so you can toggle it. And you just toggle it, and it just goes back to the default position. So you toggle it on, toggle it off. The dimmer switch for the interior gauges is here, and it controls more than just the gauges. So let's go ahead and bring it up. All the way up, all the way down. Under setup, you go to vehicle, and then you have the lights right there. And then you can adjust the turn signal, the welcome mirror light, headlights delay, high beam assist, interior lights always on. When you walk up to the vehicle with the key, it has the full proximity key system. And at a certain point, it'll sense the key. And when it does, it turns on, unfolds the side mirrors, and then it turns on this little light on the handle. But there's no exterior lights or approach lights or anything like that that turn on. Now, if we hit the unlock button on the key fob, there's a little light that shines on the key itself. It's kind of neat. But now we have the exterior lights on and the interior lights on. You can turn all the exterior lights off on the vehicle, but when you put it in drive, it will go ahead and turn on an amber light there in the front. Now I have the parking lights on. And the parking lights are basically these amber lights here in the front. Same lights that turn on when you turn off the headlights and put it in drive. Kind of look blown out on camera here, but this is what they look like here. They're fairly bright, and they have that, what they call a star map design. Looking pretty cool. Nice sharp LEDs. Now they also serve as side markers, so there's not a dedicated separate side marker here in the front. These serve for both the parking lights and the side markers all together. The tail lights wrap around to the side of the vehicle, so they serve as the side markers as well. And once again, they have a cool design, and they're a LED soft glow, deep red. Kind of look a little bit orange on camera, but it's a nice deep red. The tag lights are now on. The turn signal, it basically takes that same amber light and makes it way brighter. So it's basically the same exact thing. I'm turning the brightness down on my camera so you can see it's amber still. It's just much, much brighter here in the front. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. But it is super bright, and you can see it from the side, from the front, pretty much everywhere. It illuminates the ground next to the vehicle. Then you have a turn signal indicator here on the side mirror. It's visible from the front, the side, and the back. And then the tail light basically just takes the tail light itself and once again just amplifies the brightness like maximum. And once it hits like super bright. So let me lower the brightness here. So it's still red, it's just super bright red. Almost blinding red when I'm standing right here. It blows out the camera. Now the reverse light, the brake light is at the top of the glass, and the reverse light is at the very bottom center. So let's go for the headlights here. So let's toggle on and off the fog lights. You can see it's closer to the vehicle, but it still projects out a little bit more than a lot of fog lights. It's a little bit wider pattern, but closer to the vehicle. All right, so the headlights are, there's multiple stacks of lights. So those are projectors, and it has 2 for the low beams, 2 for the high beams, and then you have 2 for the fog lights down here. So right here, you can see they're all illuminated, but the main light right now is coming from these top 2 projectors. And then when you turn on the high beams, the lower ones will join in. But the fog lights are these 2 little tiny projectors here in this little housing side by side. But yeah, they look pretty cool. So let's step back here, see what it looks like, and also see where the cutoff is. All right, so yeah, just looking at it now, it's a little bright, but it's not blinding me or anything. So when I dip down, so about 2.5, a little bit over 2.5 feet off the ground, that's where the cutoff is, right there. That's where all the light's projecting down in that area. So let's go to the high beams. Fog lights turn off when you turn on the high beams. That's pretty normal. So now we have all these stacks, this whole stack, fully illuminated. The low beams are still on the way they were, but we now have these lower portion ones that are the high beams joining in. And we're gonna have to see how this works actually on a dark road, because when you have multiple projectors like that, sometimes it could be patchy or there could be issues with it. Sometimes you think, wow, there's 8 lights here, it's gonna illuminate the road great, and then it doesn't, right? So we actually have to see how they perform on the road. So the cargo area, there is a backlit button here for lowering the power lift gate, but the cargo area just has a single light, and it's here on the left side. It's an LED, somewhat bright. It's somewhat bright, but it's only on one side, and so it doesn't really illuminate the entire area. Especially when you put something in the cargo area, like this case, it casts shadows, everything, the entire area to the side of it. So it's not all that great. It definitely could be improved. At the very minimum, put one on the other side, but you know, maybe one up here coming down, because sometimes this, trying to look into a case or something, this side light's not all that great. You know, you can also have over the shoulder lights here under the tailgate. So many different ways you can improve this, but as it is, I would say it's less than adequate. It's okay. There's a light in it. It's maybe okay for maybe some groceries or something, but you know, this is a X Pro. This is the off-road version. So if you're going out in the middle of nowhere, you have all these packs back here and everything that you can't look into, you know, because you have this light. So anyways, bring a flashlight, I guess. So it's not all that good. Definitely needs to be improved. The inside of the back door, there's no puddle light or anything here. The only light in this door is the power window switch, is the backlit illuminated. Other than that, it's completely dark. Now the back seats look pretty good. There's a light here. You can see there's a light on either side of the sunroof. So one here and one on the other side. And so yeah, it actually illuminates the floorboard well, the seats well. It's not shining too much in the face of the passengers. But yeah, all this is looking pretty good. Even this little pocket has a little bit of light shining in it. So yeah, that's not bad. They did a good job on those. Now the USB ports here on the side of the seats, they could be illuminated, but they're not. But with the interior lights on, you can at least see them. The inside of the driver's door, there's no approach light, remember, and now there's no puddle light. The only thing we have is backlit buttons, no pocket lights or anything. So all these buttons here are backlit, every one of them, including the seat switches here. There's no dedicated floorboard illumination, and the lights here on the front do a decent job. And there's just those lights there in the center. Okay, so this is what it looks like when the door is open. Interior lights are on. And let's go ahead and shut the door. Now we're left with the backlit buttons here. So all the steering wheel buttons are backlit illuminated. To the left of the steering column, all that is illuminated. The screens look good. Now let's go through the dimmer switch again now that it's dark, so you can see it a little bit better. It goes almost completely dark right there. You can barely see the buttons, but like a real dark night, if you want to have it really low, you can do that, or you can bring it up. That's maximum brightness there. All right, so yeah, all these buttons here. USB ports are illuminated, and then there is a charge area which is not illuminated. A little cell phone charger there. Shifter and all that stuff has some illumination. Cup holders are dark. You probably can't even see what I'm talking about. Let me increase the brightness on my camera so you can see a little bit here. So yeah, this area right here is dark. The cell phone area is dark. The center console is dark. Nothing going on there. The glove compartment does have a light. Kind of surprised at this point. All right, so it doesn't have those moon lights that come down here either. So let me turn on the interior lights. Oh, wait a minute. The button that you turn on the interior lights with is not illuminated. The one button that you would need, the only time you use this button is when it's dark and you gotta see. and it's not illuminated. That's the one button that's not illuminated in this vehicle. So it's right about here. There we go. So that is a huge miss. Okay, so now we have the interior lights on. So let me turn the brightness down on my camera so you can see about what it looks like here. So now we can see in that compartment fine. We can see the cup holders. We can see inside this compartment. You know, so, and it's just these like reading lights. And the good thing about these, they're bright and they fill in this area. They're good for reading, of course, but they don't shine like in my eyes. So they're really well done as far as that goes. Let's turn off the interior lights, and we can turn them on independently by pressing the lens. So you just tap the lens. If you can see the lens, there's no, you just kind of have to know where it is, I guess, if it's super dark, but you can turn it on or off. Visor has a mirror, but the light has a switch that you have to turn on manually. And it's okay. It's a little harsh going in my face, but could be improved in that way. And if you accidentally leave the light on and close this, it basically just hits the button and turns it off. So it's kind of low-tech solution for that. So let's look at the camera system here. So it has the, well, my camera's blowing it out. All right, there we go. Okay, so the camera system is excellent, day and night. You can see excellent visibility, just all around the vehicle, front and rear. Let's go ahead and do the front part here. So yeah, it's looking good either way. And then the blind spot cameras here, once again, good day or night. They amplify the light, that's the existing light, and you can see fine. Okay, so there's the headlight pattern on a fence. There's the high beams, there's the low beams. And you'll notice right around in this area, there'll be a little bit of a dip, a little notch allowed for that lines up with the oncoming lane. This is a common thing with headlights, modern vehicles. But we'll see how that is lined up. See if it's lined up properly, if it's working properly. But yeah, we have four projectors just for the headlights. We have 4 projectors on each side, 2 for the low beams, 2 for the high beams. And then the fog lights are, once again, 2 on each side. So we have a lot of lights going on in the front of the vehicle. So there's a lot of cars out tonight. So we'll have to find a dark road with not that many cars so we can test out the high beams and stuff. But it is crazy how much traffic is out right now. There's like a snowstorm or something on its way, so I guess everybody's getting prepared for it. Okay, so yeah, the low beams with all this traffic is everything. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. The brightness looks good, the pattern. Okay, so let's go fog lights off. There's the fog lights on. It's just mostly close to the vehicle. It's not really something that's making a difference at any distance, really. Okay, so yeah, we'll just turn those off for now. But yeah, the brightness and the spread wide, you know, like I can see the sides of the road in front of me. It's kind of hard to tell right now how the distance of the low beams quite yet with all those cars. But it seems like that notch is lining up with the oncoming lane properly. All right. hopefully there won't be too many cars down here. This is where I test the high beams. Okay, so gotta do this fast, I guess. Okay, so I can see the trees. There's the low beams. All right, so there's the high beams. I don't know if you can tell, but the added light, so you already have good low beams, and then you just add that additional light to the top there, and you can see it has a good height to it. That helps out with hills and stuff. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. There's no significant patchiness or anything. That notch kind of lines up on my lane sometimes, but yeah, that's looking pretty good. The distance on the high beams looks good. You can see the trees. So the trees are off the road a little ways. So that, you know, the way I choose this road because it's a little bit of a challenge for headlights, because there's not trees like right next to the road, and so they have to travel a little bit in order to just for you to see anything. Okay, so turn the fog lights back on. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. I would say these are in the adequate range, you know, a little bit. They're nice. They're good headlights. They're definitely adequate. I think most people will be satisfied with them. All the different lights adding up, there's no significant patchiness or, you know, no overlap problems. As far as the low and high beams, there's no disconnect as far as like the cutoff line, and then there's like a little gap or anything like that. It seems to fill in everything nicely. So all those headlights are well done. They're all just give you good feel in front of the vehicle. Now they're not overly bright in the center. Like some high beams will give you a little bit harsher distance, or a real strong light in the center, which will give you a really strong distance. This doesn't really have that. It's just filling in the top part, really. But it does a good job. It does a really good job. The pattern, the distance, just the overall spread of the headlights look really good. But yeah, they could be a little bit brighter. You could have a little bit stronger distance in the center. But, you know, like I said, these are the adequate range. They're not super impressive, but they're you know, they're not a disappointment like a lot of headlights are. So yeah, I would definitely be satisfied with these. These are good. These are good headlights. I mean, they look cool too. You know, when you have all those different little projectors lined up, it's a different style versus, you know, just two regular headlights. These are like the little stack going on.